2024 is shaping up to be an interesting year at the box office. Thanks to the Hollywood strikes, some releases were pushed back to 2025, and for the first time in years, there will only be 2 comic book adaptations in theaters. If some non-superhero flicks were ever going to step up, now's the time to do so. Regardless of the strike delays, there are still a lot of potentially great movies to look forward to in the coming year. That's why we've assembled our list of the 10 most anticipated movies of 2024 as your guide for the next year. These films will likely be among the top hits of 2024 as well. Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. After getting their cinematic rematch in Godzilla vs. Kong, what's next for Big G and King Kong? A team-up in Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. Only a few of the cast members from the previous film will be back, including Rebecca Hall as Dr. Eileen Andrews, Kaylee Hoddle as her adoptive daughter, Ja, and Brian Tyree Henry as Bernie Hayes. Dan Stevens is taking over one of the leading roles as Trapper. Godzilla and King Kong had an alliance of necessity against Mechagodzilla in the first film. This time a new or perhaps a very old titan has emerged who challenges both monsters and forces them to join together again. We'll find out if the monsterverse truly has legs when this film arrives. Godzilla vs. Kong: The New Empire will hit theaters on the 12th of April 2024. Beetlejuice 2. How hot is Wednesday's Jenna Ortega in Hollywood circles? Ortega's newfound star power helped Beetlejuice 2 escape development hell after over 35 years. Ortega will be the new female lead as the daughter of Winona Ryder's Lydia Dietz and the granddaughter of Catherine O'Hara's Delia Dietz, both of whom are back for the sequel. Of course, it just wouldn't be a party without Beetlejuice or Beetlejuice himself, as Michael Keaton returns as the ghost with the most alongside his bride, as played by Monica Bellucci. Willem Dafoe, Justin Theroux, and Arthur Conti round out the cast. So far there's no trailer, but since most of the production was finished before the strikes, Beetlejuice 2 should have no trouble making its release date. Beetlejuice 2 will hit theaters on the 6th of September 2024. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Apes, a new sequel that takes place 300 years after the death of Caesar in War for the Planet of the Apes. But in this future world of ape supremacy, Proximus Caesar has betrayed the ideals of his namesake and enslaved both humans and his fellow apes in his quest to reclaim human technology for himself. A young chimpanzee named Noah emerges as the hero that his fellow apes need, while The Witcher's Freya Allan portrays May, a feral young woman with a common purpose with Noah. It may be too late to restore humanity, but there's still a chance to keep the apes from repeating mankind's mistakes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will hit theaters on the 24th of May 2024. Dune Part 2. In theaters this year, director Denis Villeneuve doesn't have a lot of luck at the box office, but he's made some of the most visually arresting sci-fi films of the last decade. This time Villeneuve gets to complete his adaptation of Frank Herbert's first novel in the Dune saga. Following the betrayal and downfall of his family in the first film, Paul Atreides has been embraced as the messiah-like leader of the Fremen as he becomes the first real threat to Emperor Shaddam IV. But to avenge his family, Paul must face Fade Rotha Harkonnen from his rival house and topple an empire that has stood for generations. Dune Part 2 will hit theaters on the 1st of March 2024. Joker Folie à Deux. As far as we know, there is no Batman in Joker Folie à Deux, but the original Joker movie didn't need a Dark Knight to become a billion-dollar hit. Joaquin Phoenix is back as Arthur Fleck, the man who became the Joker after a lifetime of mental and physical abuse pushed him to his breaking point. The sequel introduces Lady Gaga as Dr. Harleen Quinzel, a psychiatrist who is drawn to Arthur. The name of the film means madness for two, so it's a pretty safe assumption that Gaga's character will follow her namesake's destiny and become the Harley Quinn to Arthur's Joker in this timeline as well. It's also rumored that Gaga's vocal talents will be put to use for some musical scenes, but we haven't seen evidence of that yet. Joker Folie à Deux will hit theaters on the 4th of October 2024. Ballerina. The John Wick franchise isn't done yet. Ballerina features blonde star Ana de Armas as Rooney, a character who was briefly glimpsed in John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Keanu Reeves will reprise his role as John Wick for the film, but this story is all about Rooney's quest for revenge as she targets the men who murdered her family. Ian McShane and the late Lance Reddick are also back as Winston Scott and Karen, respectively. Newcomers to the franchise include Gabriel Byrne, Catalina Sandino Moreno, and Norman Reedus, while Angelica Houston reprises her role as the director. Ballerina will hit theaters on the 7th of June 2024. Deadpool 3. Marvel's lone movie for 2024 is built on the long-awaited team-up of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. But don't expect these two to get along in Deadpool 3. Somehow this film is going to act as a true sequel to Deadpool 2, while also bringing the characters into the MCU. Confirmed returning cast members include Morena Baccarin as Vanessa, Brianna Hildebrand as Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Shioli Kutsuna as Yukio, Karen Sony as Dopinder, Leslie Uggams as Blind Al, and Stefan Kapicic as the voice of Colossus. Intriguingly, Jennifer Garner will reprise her role as Elektra Nachios for the first time in nearly 2 decades, adding some credence to the rumors that more 20th Century Fox-era Marvel heroes will also appear. Deadpool 3 will hit theaters on the 26th of July 2024. Wicked Part 1. Broadway musical adaptations have often been hit or miss in Hollywood, but Wicked is a franchise that may transcend that altogether. This mega-hit has reinvigorated The Wizard of Oz by giving the Wicked Witch of the West a fleshed-out backstory, while the musical's show-stopping numbers have made Wicked a fan favorite. Cynthia Erivo portrays Elphaba Throp, a green-skinned woman who will eventually become the Wicked Witch of the West, while Ariana Grande stars as Galinda Upland, one of the Good Witches of Oz. Don't look for Dorothy Gale and her friends in the first part of this adaptation, but you will get to see Jeff Goldblum appear as the Wizard of Oz. That should be fun all by itself. Wicked Part 1 will hit theaters on the 27th of November 2024. Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga. Why is Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga our most anticipated movie of 2024? Because Mad Max Fury Road was an astonishingly great action flick, and director George Miller doesn't seem to have lost a step with Furiosa. The Queen's Gambit star Anya Taylor-Joy is headlining this prequel as the young Furiosa before she became Imperator. In this post-apocalyptic tale, Furiosa was stolen from her home, and if she wants to return, Furiosa must get past Warlord Dementus and his dangerous followers in the wasteland. If the early trailer for this film is any indication, it will be a hell of a ride. Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga will hit theaters on the 24th of May 2024. That's the film that will be released in 2024.